Hello,
Hi,
how are you today?
I'm pretty fine.
And how was your week? How was your last week?
Um, is uh is was good. Like there wasn't anything special about
Mm-hmm.
last week.
Mm-hmm. How was your Chinese class? Everything fine?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sort of like I assume that, but like that it's just that I'm kind of like having some sort of troubles
Mm-hmm.
remind like memorizing all the words.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can imagine that. Chinese is hard, right? The writing,
Yeah,
the
like you have
words.
to remember all those jokes and those jokes orders of each word, and
Mm-hmm.
then yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can totally relate it. I tried to learn Korean once, and it was
Uh-huh.
so difficult for me to remember all the words and how to write it down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I think that all these like languages
Mm-hmm.
that don't use the alphabet is really hard to remember all the words.
I agree. We were so lucky. Someone that created the Latin alphabet for us,
Yeah.
or else we would totally lost in the other system of writing, right?
Yeah, like even even Chinese even forget the Chinese even forget their words. So I'm thinking about how can I properly remember all of their words.
Yeah, but is it that when you read out loud the word, it's so similar to Vietnamese that you can
Yeah.
likely to understand the meaning?
Yeah, because there is lots uh like there are lots of words in
Borrowing
Vietnamese
words,
that
right?
we borrow from
Mm-hmm.
Chinese. So when you hear the when you first hear the word, you kind of like can't figure out its meaning by because like it because some words in Chinese sounds really similar to Vietnamese.
Yeah, I agree. um, did you manage to get some time to write down the test tool that I sent to you?
So I forgot, so I haven't like really finished it yet. And first, when I first read the questions, I
Mm-hmm.
kind of having trouble in understand
Oh,
the phrase bring
yeah.
history to life, but
Mm-hmm.
like can be brought to life because like when I search it on Google, it just
Mm-hmm.
shows something that I think it doesn't relate
Mm-hmm.
it to
So
the
be bring to life or be brought to
history.
life is like to make something more exciting,
Oh,
more
okay.
relatable to like the reality, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So this task is to ask you some solution. Yeah.
Oh,
It doesn't ask you about whether you
I
agree
agree
with
that
the fact that children find learning history at school very exciting
exciting
or
or
boring.
boring,
So
right?
you don't have to
Yeah.
write an essay about whether you agree or not.
It's just
Uh,
that I have to write the
Solution.
solutions.
In what ways? Yeah, so it's a solution essay.
Mm.
And this is not, we're not worried about the structure because clearly there would be two main paragraphs and there would be solution one and solution two.
Uh-huh.
But the point is to get idea and to explain that solution
Yeah.
within 100 words is the difficult one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you have any idea in mind when you read that? How can
Yeah.
we make history more excited?
Like, first of all, I think the best way to get the students' attention, like to make them find history class appealing to the, like appealing to them that is having them like recreated the lesson and like interacted have them interacted with other students, like
Mm-hmm.
that way they will feel involved in the lesson, like they feel like they're
Mm-hmm.
in that time that the events happened,
Mm-hmm.
and they will like find it more interesting and they can fully understand
Mm.
the lesson.
Okay. So this first solution is to make history class more appealing by
Yeah,
creating tasks or projects so that students can feel involved.
yeah.
Evolved. Can you give me one example?
Um,
For
uh,
example, which kind of task you think would be for the student to feel involved?
for example, like maybe have the student like created a role play
Mm-hmm.
based on the lesson, and they will act and they will act like the the people in
Mm.
that lesson, and yeah,
Okay. So by creating role play with historical characters, student can understand more about the life, đúng không?
yeah.
Understand more about the past, the past. Okay. And okay, so that's solution one. Clearly, it cannot make one paragraph. Give me more idea. Okay. Another illustration.
Mm,
Another
another
task.
thing is that the teacher they need to be like some good storyteller, like,
Mm-hmm.
and they need to have some other information, some other interesting information
Mm-hmm.
aside from the thing that is written in the
Mm.
book, and um like while teaching, the teacher can also tell the student some side story that
Mm-hmm.
is related to the events that they are studying about, and I think that way can also make the student find
Okay.
history class interesting.
Okay. So maybe the make the story more relatable, and the teacher can ask the student to dig in for side story, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So maybe that can be a paragraph. Can you give me another solution?
So um, the other way is maybe sometimes a teacher can take
Mm-hmm.
to the can take the student to the place that events happened,
Mm-hmm.
like if it is somewhere nearby,
Mm-hmm.
um um then that way the student can imagine all the scenes from the lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Context. Okay. So solution two is a field trip to historical place, monuments, museum, right? And
Yes.
student can imagine the historical context which created the the background or the story of the real facts, history facts, right?
Yes.
Can you give me some example of good historical place?
Maybe a temple,
Mm-hmm.
and mm,
For
maybe
example, in your province, what would
yeah.
you recommend to go to dig in into history?
I would recommend the Phuong Temple because that is where um um I think because that is where who that for the commander Trần Đao rested and like stayed while he was in a war.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what's so special about it? Is there any statue of Trần Hưng Đạo or something?
Yeah, we have a statue of him, and
Mm-hmm.
even some um some and we even have some sort of like monument
Uh-huh.
or a rock that is carved
Uh-huh.
with some Chinese words, probably something
Uh-huh.
about the past events that happened there.
Uh-huh. Mm. Okay. Okay. Ancient Chinese. Okay. So, example of historical play, you can mention Thượng Temple where Commander Trần Hưng Đạo rested when the country was in war, and there is a statue of him, and there are also monument with manuscript in ancient Chinese, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's gonna be a good example of historical place. And maybe here you can dig into how the student would feel about being at Thượng Temple.
Like,
The student might feel something, okay?
yeah.
And then how they learn, okay?
Yes.
They would learn how to, for example, treasure the past
Yeah.
and the pace that we are having now, right?
Yeah.
Enjoying now. Yeah. Okay. So that's how you do. That's essay, and if you manage to write 2 solution and you still have like 100 words to go, then you can go on with another solution. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you think of another third solution?
And
For example, children might find history boring because they don't see the practical side of history, right?
yeah, so if you like shows the
Mm-hmm.
what way can history be uh like
Mm-hmm.
realistic to life, then that probably makes
History.
us
Okay,
the
so the
that would
solution is make history class more realistic,
realistic. Yeah.
or to be precise, more practical.
Yeah.
And what would you do about it?
Well, I'll probably mm,
For example, if you have to look out for the years and data from the past, would you be able to be good at some sort of math? So maybe the teacher can create some kind of math task in historical class so that the student might feel like they not only study history, they somehow study math, right?
yeah.
So create a task in history class so that student might be interested, feel like they study history and math at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Maybe that's solution 3. Yeah. So that's how you manage to write this essay. So it's purely about solution, and that's the difficult one because sometimes within like 40 minutes, you run out of ideas, right? You don't know
Yes.
what to do. What I would recommend you is to try a mind map. Mind map?
What is that?
Okay. A mind map is you take down your notes and idea in a cloud system or like a brain system. So I'm gonna give you the image of mind mapping.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and then um, so for example, this is a, a image of a mind map. Okay, sending to you.
Okay.
See?
Mm,
So according to some scientific study, if you draw something like this, it will make your brain to think more or like think easier or like effectively. So the central, the thing with staying mind mapping is the solution, okay? And then you
okay.
can go for several solutions, and by seeing all the solution in a page like this, you can see the relation of each solution, or whether you can go far from that or you can go little, and then how you structure it.
Yeah, so like a problem of that is that, oh, okay, so
Mm-hmm.
I try to like draw a mind map before, and it's just that I can't even I couldn't even know where should I start with, like
Okay, so
what should I
if
start.
Okay, so if like you see they have one, two, three, four, five lines, right? Five routes that go through, and then with other small idea, and then they writing down benefit, collaborating, planning, creativity, productivity. So each of them are actually one main idea. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
for example,
Yeah.
these can be five solutions. So five solutions for five paragraphs. And then how would you explain this solution? Like, okay, you have the green. Instead of say benefit, you have solution one, make history class more appealing. And then you would say why it's more appealing by doing tasks or like giving the project to the student. And then you explain more. For example, a role play. And why the role play work? Maybe because the student can feel related to the historical characters and then learn something about the role play. Yeah. So if the more that you draw smaller lines, nếu mà em vẽ được nhiều cái nhánh nhỏ hơn á, it does mean that this idea are well developed and you can use this idea as a paragraph.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Sometimes you got an idea, you think it's great. But imagine, for example, planning, but then you couldn't think of any projects, goal, or strategy. You just say something very cool, very exciting, but you don't have anything to back it up. No more smaller line. Then you know this line, this planning red line might be not good as one paragraph because clearly you got no idea what to
Yeah.
put in more. And sometimes, so it's not only about solution essay, but if imagine the green and the red are solution and cause, then you can find the yellow cái mũi tên màu màu vàng nè. Somehow they related. You can see if they are related, and then you can link with them to have a linking word between two paragraphs.
Okay.
So the mind map is that you don't have to write bunches of ideas in a list of paper, but you just need one big paper, and then you can see how you can organize things, how things goes.
Okay.
Sometimes it works if you are a visual learner. So, for example, this method works perfectly for visual learners, the one who draw and then learn more by seeing the image. But if you are a more like mathematic learner, then you would want to have like a list of number and bullets to state your idea. So do you know like you sort of visual learner or mathematic learner?
I think I'm more like a mathematical learner because like reading these my mom
Mm,
I can understand it. I
okay.
cannot really understand anything about like these mind map things,
So
but
the mathematic method is to list things. And you see,
yeah,
for example, if you write out a solution one, you got many ideas for PIE, main point, illustration, and explanation, then you're good to go for a paragraph.
yeah,
Yeah, okay. So it's just very depending on the luck when you get a task. For
yeah,
example, you might get a very easy task or the task that you want to write about, but
uh-huh,
sometimes they give you a very hard task and you don't know what to do. And it's not your fault. It's not that you're not well equipped. It's just you don't feel like writing it, right?
yeah, and I some sort and besides like I think if I it's really depends on luck like if you cannot choose your like favorite topics
Mm,
and it's really hard
yeah.
and even though like you get an easy one like
Mhm.
but sometimes it can be too easy
Mhm.
that nothing can really like you
Yeah.
cannot think of any other things that you have already talked about like sometimes like I when I took a test
Mhm.
and I kind of like want something that is not too hard but like is at my level but
Mhm.
like then I got the hobby things and it's just that I I'm sure that the teachers are like they also have seen or heard about these topic a lot of times it so the topics about hobby kind of like become really boring because
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
you talk about is when you started your what is your hobby when did you start it and like or when you or when or where you do it or like who do you share your hobby and
Mhm.
what is benefits and
Yeah.
yeah
I
it's
can.
all that's all
So imagine like me as a very I love literature and other philosophic thing, and if
yeah
someone asks me to describe a sport event, I don't know what to say. Or like
yeah
a sport that I don't do sport.
yeah
Yeah, something like that. So sometimes you just got very unlucky with
yes
IELTS, right?
yeah
Yeah. So I never asked you this, but when will you take the IELTS test?
um because I think that when I'm in high school or something and like when I'm really well prepared for the IELTS test
Mm-hmm.
because the fee is really high so I don't want to
Agree.
take the IELTS test too much
Mm-hmm.
just
So when the
to get a
time comes,
spot
just
yeah
ask me again because I do know some trick to register for IELTS. For example, there would be two types of IELTS, right? General and academic. So
uh-huh
you would probably take the academic IELTS, but there are days that they only organize academic IELTS, not general IELTS. And there are days that they both organize academic and general. And usually on that day with the same general and academic, the task or the day is easier.
really
So if you ever register for doing the test, do it on the day that both having general and academic tests.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I will search more about that. But
Mm-hmm.
I can understand why the fee is so high. Like,
4 million something, right?
yeah, around that. Like, I
Yeah.
think it's around, like, it's nearly 5 million. Like,
Mm. And they do have another IELTS exam, which is UKVI. So it's for people who wish to study in the UK. They have to take that IELTS, and it's 7 millions.
what?
Yeah, and they got like very focused on like making sure that the student don't cheat or like do funny stuff during the exam. And for the speaking test, they would film you. Usually with the normal IELTS, they just only like record your voice.
Uh-huh.
But then for the UKVI 7 million exam, they would film you to make you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, that is another level of uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And like IELTS, uh, the IELTS thing only like lasts for
Two
two
years.
years,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, so like after 2 years, you have to take another one.
Yeah. But then you need to have a purpose to take the IELTS. If
Yeah,
you are about to study abroad, you would probably take IELTS during year 12, lớp 12 ha. And then you
yeah,
can apply for scholarship or like school outside of the country. Yeah.
yeah. So like,
Are you about to graduate from university? You would probably take the IELTS so that you can apply for jobs.
yeah, but like, so like at this rate, do you think, do you know about the CEFR thing? It's a kind of like English test
Mm,
that has a level like A1 or A2 and B1, B2 or something like that.
I do. That's a new system certificate, right?
Yeah, so
They trying to do some marketing and advertisement for that, but it's not that popular in Vietnam. Okay,
yeah, so
and I think they only accepted this certificate in the UK. Is that correct?
yeah, I or like some European countries.
So only in European
Yeah.
countries. Why IELTS is accepted even in the US and Australia? Yeah, so well, IELTS is more popular, so you can use it
Yeah.
for many purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if someone asks me which certificate would they should have, I would say IELTS or TOEFL.
Yeah,
But
like
TOEFL
right
is
now.
another level of difficulty. Yeah,
Yeah, so
because
IELTS would
hmm,
do, right?
yeah, TOEFL is for studying at in the US, and the difficult things about TOEFL is that the listening section is linked to the writing. So you would hear some sort of lecture or lesson from the listening section, take down notes, and these notes are to write the essay for the next section of writing.
Oh,
So
that's
I
hard.
think that's difficult, right?
Yeah, because like even you can you can you can not even like be sure that you can hear and understand all the things that they say in the audio,
Mm-hmm.
then how can you like do the next task?
Mm-hmm. But I can imagine that by listening to the previous lesson, then you can use some sort of information in the lesson in the listening section as example or illustration for your essay. You don't have to think of all the idea. You probably take down some notes about solution, and the next essay is to discuss the solution. You know.
Uh-huh.
Mm,
Oh,
yeah. And something about logic. Yeah, writing about analyze the logical thought of something. And then
Yeah.
you have to apply some sort of mathematic system into thinking of logic. They would give you a study case like someone say this and this, and therefore they conclude that this is to this, and then they ask you, is it logic? In what way it is logic? In what way it's not logical? And
Yeah.
then you have to apply some sort of math into that.
Yes.
Yeah, I would be a very bad student for studying TOEFL because I'm not very good at math.
Really?
Yeah, especially like calculation or to see the logic things out of it.
Uh-huh.
But maybe it's suitable for you. Maybe you should
Yeah, I think
try.
so because like I like to think everything in a logical way,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so it's kind of so that is why it always hard for me to do the literature
Mm-hmm.
test or something because you can use logical in that subject.
Mm-hmm. Let me see if I can find you
Yeah.
some PDF of TOEFL sample test, and
Uh-huh.
then you can try to do it.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Okay, let's try this. If we ever think of try to understand and manage to do TOEFL, then you would be my teacher.
Really?
Or maybe my study partner, study buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Study buddy sounds like more
Yeah.
okay.
Like here. Okay, let's see. Oh, this is TOEFL IBT. The reading
Yeah.
section measures your ability to understand academic passages written in English. You will read on one passage and answer questions about it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Dinosaur extinction.
Dinosaurs anyway.
There is increasing evidence that it's going to have more important effects on Earth. And then the questions. Oh, the question is more like the word posed to line 2 is closest in meaning to A, B, C, D. And then in paragraph 2, why does the author include the information that dinosaurs had flourished to tens of millions of years and then suddenly disappear?
Oh, okay.
So this is to test your vocabulary and your ability to understand clearly the text, like even with example or illustration. Then you have to know whether it's a main idea or it's a supporting idea. You see, to support the claim, to explain why, to explain, to provide evidence. So that's how.
Yes.
So it's not like IELTS when you choose truth or false, or like to match the headline with the paragraph, right? It's more like to understand each of
The
the paragraph
paragraph.
meanings.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. I think it's interesting, right?
Yes.
But then you do need to look for academic works, like
Yeah, that is another thing. Um, make makes the test hard
mm-hmm,
because we like because I think mostly all the students in Vietnam have
mm,
really poor vocabulary and like academic words like
yeah.
yeah.
So
So
so the
it's hard.
yeah, so the study from grade 1 to grade 12 of high school was
Like
to equip the student with common words, like for
yeah,
communication.
common with not like academic words, and I don't. Well, that is useful in real life, but like I think they have to. That they, I think
Yeah.
uh, the we don't get to study much academic words while we study throughout the 12th grades.
Yeah, because
And
mostly all the academic words you study in Vietnamese. For example, phản ứng hóa học, Basel, we something like in chemistry, in physics, you would study
yeah,
in Vietnamese, so you don't know these words, right?
yeah, like you don't even know the the elements names in English. Like we only know this name in
Yeah.
Vietnamese, but like not in English.
Yeah,
So
and it's not like enough. Like if you know AL is nhôm, but you don't know like what it stands for.
yeah,
Like you know
so it's like
ZN is suck, but then you don't know why it's suck when you know the word in English. It's a
yeah,
iron,
yeah.
right? But then
Like when well when I s- in when I was in grade 8, I did take a test, and it it has this element that sounds really like something like it sounds really something new, and because they write it full name, write its full name, so I kind of confused. I was like a bit confused, but when I searched on Google, turns out it's just AL, which is really familiar to me.
yeah, I
So
agree.
and like I read the when I read um university entrance
Mhm.
test, the, the English test, like
Mm.
I don't feel it's really difficult or something because I don't have too much grammar in it, and mostly it's about vocabulary, like whether you can understand the words and the sentence meaning or not. Like um I think it's not that hard to get a 10, but like
Mhm.
you really need to have a wide vocabulary to
Yeah.
do the test good.
Yeah, and sometimes you learn something by reading it, so you understand the meaning, but you can't manage to say it out loud in the speaking contest. There would be no scientist to sit there and talk with you about science, right? And you don't have the chance to
Yeah,
use scientific words. So
yes,
yeah,
and like if you and even if you know the scientific words, I doubt that the teacher will knows it.
yeah.
Like,
They
but
probably
like
don't
I
know
don't.
how to pronounce it.
Yeah,
Right.
they don't. They probably don't even know that word. They probably don't even know that word
Mm,
exists.
yeah, I agree. And the way that I study like new words and long, very complicated words is to see their root. For example, if their root in Latin, I would probably know it because I do know another Latin language, which is Spanish, so I can see the similarity. But then with
Yeah.
words that started or like rooted in Greek, I don't really know. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a difficult one, but if you manage to learn now, then you would go very far in the future because now you just secondary student, right?
Yes.
And imagine like not every secondary student do IELTS test or get to learn vocabulary for the IELTS test. So you can go far from here. Even
Yeah.
farther than other famous one now who in the IELTS fighter. You know that program on TV? The
Um.
VTV something?
Yeah. VTV4
Mm.
shows like IELTS face off or like
Yeah.
IELTS 8 or 8.
Mhm.
I used to watch those shows. Like
Mhm.
they have some really interesting
Mm.
topic,
Yeah.
and like I even remember that there was this episode also like about a topic that we learned study before, like
Mm-hmm.
about commercial things.
Commercial advertisement, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like you learn it now, then you are more likely to be a global citizen. Like you learn the same level as other people learn from other countries. For example,
Yeah.
Philippines, because all the study curriculum in Philippines is in English. So imagine they study the same chemistry, mathematics, and physics subjects in English. And now you study IELTS to learn vocabulary in these scientific subjects. Then you are like equal good as Philippine students.
Yeah, I feel like because like we even now we don't learn most of the school we don't learn these subjects in English. So like I think if anyone like if there's any students like want to study abroad, they probably will be really confused
Of course.
because like they cannot understand most of what the teacher is saying aside from normal or basic
Yeah,
words that is used every day.
yeah. I don't think like they would know words like geologists, anthropologists, like people who study the science subject. They could not differentiate between like anthropology and archaeology, right?
Yeah, like because like well in daily life like
Mhm.
they can interact with other people's really well
Mhm.
and like they can talk about things, but when they come to class like it's just really confusing because they
Mhm.
don't know
Mhm.
any academic word about the subject.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
You I think you would probably enjoy the show The Big Bang Theory because in that group of like scientist people, there was a girl and she just a high schooler, graduate from high school, and she didn't go to college. And then whenever the group is talking about something very scientific, she was dumbfounded all the time. She was like, "You are something, something." I couldn't remember the word. She was like that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun show if you want to study vocabulary in terms of scientific subjects, because they are all scientists discussing science in a daily basic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we only have 15 minutes for the class. Uh, I meant to teach you vocabulary about sickness. Like, yeah. So, very simple words, and then we can go for more medical terms of sickness issues. Yeah. Um,
Uh-huh.
So let's go with simple word first. So to indicate mệt mỏi nên là đau đớn á, what would words that you would use? What words would you use?
I was exhausting or like
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Or
um
like if it related to pens. For example, đau răng, what would you say?
or just toothache.
Toothache, and then something đau lưng, for example, đau lưng.
Like ache,
Uh-huh. And đau đầu.
headache.
Very good. And for example, đau chân.
Um, I probably just gotta say my leg hurts,
Uh-huh.
something like that.
So some of the words would you would x, right? But the other
Yes.
would be pens.
Yeah.
Okay. For example, if you got something, if your ear hurts, then it's ear pain, not ear itch, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that that is something about collocation here. Sometimes you can use word with eggs, and the other time you use with pens. Okay.
Yes.
The other way to say, like you heard, is cramp. In what situation would you use the word cramp?
Well, let's see. I don't know.
Okay, so cramp is related to the pain in your muscle.
Oh.
So, for example, if you are on period, then you have period pain, so that would be cramp.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
Well, too bad I cannot relate to that.
Yeah, you're not on period yet, right?
I haven't had one.
Oh, okay. But then now you know, like sometimes you can use the word cramps in a situation in some pain that related to your muscle.
Okay.
And cramps also mean like tê chân.
Oh.
Yeah, so you can say my leg is cramped, which means chân tôi đang bị tê or chuột rút. And also, if in term of room, and you say my room is cramped, which means hơi chật chội, cramped.
Oh.
Because you know, like chuột rút is like co rút, right? So yes. When you use this for the room, then it means the small room. Okay, yeah. So that's aches, pains, and cramp. And you would try to notice these different of usage of ache, pain, and cramps in like real life when someone's saying something about their pain, right? Yeah. And another thing, for example, if you nghẹt mũi, what would you use the word for nghẹt mũi?
Well, let's see. I don't think I even use any word.
So to say nghẹt, you can use the word blocked.
Blocked?
Yeah, lại bị khóa đó. Thì nghẹt mũi is blocked nose. Okay, so you can say I have a blocked nose yesterday, for example. Okay. And if you want to use a more medical term, it would call nasal congestion. Congestion meaning blocking. And nasal.
I think I have heard this before.
Yeah, you might see it in for example, một cái tip mà xịt mũi á, for nasal congestion. Yeah. Cái đồ xịt thông mũi á, thì nó sẽ có công dụng á, thì nó sẽ ghi for nasal congestion. Yeah. So nasal is related to cái xoang á, cái mũi ha. So yes. Yeah. So sometimes in phonetic terms, về phát âm á, if the sound is nasal, it means that you have to use your nose when pronounce that sound.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's why that word's really familiar.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have heard something like nasal sounds like when I study speaking.
Yeah. For example, invoice sounds like K, T, P, S. Yeah. You would probably use nasals from above, not the throat, but to use the nose to make sound. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And then opposite to a blocked nose is the nose that how to say it? Sống mũi, right? Like you want to blow something more often, and that is running nose.
Yes, I know this.
Yeah, this is from sách giáo khoa, right? And then sometimes you cut or like you damage something, So that's called a cut. Okay, for example, a cut on the hand or the cut on the finger là bị đứt tay, đứt cái gì đó ha, bị chày bị đứt.
Yeah.
Okay, and then bruise is for vết bầm.
Yes.
Bruise. Okay. Okay, and what would you say if you are like đau họng? Đau họng.
Sore throat.
Very good. Sore throat. And then this is fatigue. Fatigue is when you are extremely tired. Fatigue. So this is a noun. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you are so tired or like extremely exhausted from like mental or physical doing, then you can say the word fatigue. Fatigue.
Yes.
Okay. I never heard anyone say fatigue in my life, but sometimes in reading context you might see it.
Yeah, because like it's like too academic.
Yeah, it's too academic, right?
Yes.
And then okay, okay, wait, I try to pronounce it correctly. Nausea or nausea.
Nausea.
Yeah.
Nausea. Okay, nausea.
Nausea or nausea, which means like you feel like vomiting.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, it's more like seasick. When you buồn nôn á, buồn nôn thì là nausea.
Yes.
Like feel like vomiting. Vomit là ói ha, vomiting.
Yeah.
Feel like vomiting. Okay. Yeah, and to say you are đầy hơi when you eat something and you feel like you couldn't eat anything more and you feel tired of that, you are floating.
Oh, okay.
Floating. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so these things you might see in reading and you would probably try to say it in speaking context if the question is like, have you ever been sick? Or describe a time when you were so sick. And then you can start with aches and pains or cramps and then go with like plucked nose and cut and bruise and fatigue. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Is there any particular symptom that you always experience and you don't know how to say it in English?
Well, like I think a lot, but like most of it, you kind of show me it's like something like nausea or yeah.
For example, em có bị viêm tai không? Viêm tai. So, viêm tai is ear infection, là bị nhiễm cái gì đó ở ear ha, thì là viêm tai đó.
Okay.
Or the medical term for that is otitis media. Otitis ha. Otitis là bị viêm tai đó. Rồi ví dụ như mà em bị viêm tai giữa đi, thường là viêm tai giữa đó, thì là otitis media. Media là giữa nè. And if you want to say like không nghe được á, hay là bị ù tai đó, thì you can say dismissed hearing, là bị ù tai. Dismissed hearing. So when you dismiss something, right, and then now it's like you're unable to hear something. Dismiss eerie.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that's it for today. If you want, we can continue with medical issues in next section. I do have a
Okay.
good article for you to read and then to learn more, like very
Okay.
serious disease, for example, like tâm thần phân liệt and viêm phổi này nọ. Yeah.
Like, is that like psycho or something like? Yeah.
Yeah, psychology's term
Yeah, psychology.
for like mental illness.
Yes.
So it was from my favorite character. She is a wife of a famous author, which is Scott Fitzgerald. So Scott Fitzgerald was the one who wrote The Great Gatsby. Maybe you probably seen the film Gatsby vĩ đại á, The Great Gatsby.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay, so the writer of the novel. So this is a movie based on a novel,
Yes,
and
I know that.
it was typical of American dream novel. Like it represent American in the 1920s. So the writer he has a wife, and that wife he, from being normal she has gone crazy. Yeah.
Oh.
And I managed to search for an article, and it's about how crazy is she. Okay.
Oh.
So we can
Wow,
try
that's bad.
to we can try to read some of her symptoms and to get to know the language and the vocabulary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in a very easy way, like try to understand it, to read it one time and then maybe sometime when you read in IELTS you see these words and you know, oh, that's just mental illness that I forgot the exact term, but I know it's mental illness. Yeah.
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 Wow. By the way, that movie, The Great Gatsby,
Mm-hmm.
is a great movie. It was a great movie with good soundtrack.
Yeah, I agree. I love the song Young and Beautiful.
Yeah, like, I love the singer for some. Like, I like
Yeah.
lots of other songs of her.
Yeah. She have that angelic voice, but very
Yes.
haunting voice, like haunting, like ám
Yeah.
ảnh luôn á. Like sometimes
Yeah.
when you listen to her voice at night, you don't feel like going to sleep. You want to think about your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my favorite movie and novel of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started to see the movie from Leo DiCaprio and then try to read the novel. It was difficult to read, but then
Yeah.
I love it and it's become my favorite things. Like it's my obsession, you know. Like on my wedding, I went with the theme The Great Gatsby. So I wear everything in the 1920 and then it was great with the photo album because on the photo I would include one quotation from the novel.
Well, that's great because, like, well, it's really great to be honest. And yeah, but like, I don't know. Like, I think because I didn't watch the movie carefully, so it's kind of like hard for me to understand. Like,
It's
what
a
happened
it's a
to Gatsby? Like, where did he manage to get all the money that he used to, like, to have some party like that? Like, where did he get money?
someone you remember the one who he's talking or doing business with. So he's not actually doing business with him, but he tried to pull out something glamorous so that that guy or other guy like mafia one can like rửa tiền.
Oh.
So he isn't rich. He just pretended to be rich so that other people from like darker side of society can make business or like make the money flow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Oh.
that's when Tom Buchanan, the husband of Daisy, he found out about like the fakeness of Gatsby Rich, and then he
Yeah.
accused him of like luring his wife to be with him when he's not that rich. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a so that's the reason why the novel somehow represents some sort of American dream, like someone very poor became very rich in a society, but in not a very innocent way, but in a very dirty way, and that's
Okay.
how people imagine or like put image on America. Like sometimes you see America in a very glamorous way, but behind the scene of that glamorous scene would be something else. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I could spend time and time to talk for you about the film and the novel
Yeah.
and the
Like
writer.
you seem
Well,
so like really
I'm
into that movie.
yeah, I'm considering taking my PhD in literature, and now we'll focus more on his work, like this
Yeah.
this writer work, like his other novels and how his life was mentioned or was made into novels based on facts and his marriage with his wife. Yeah.
Yeah. All these like novels that is based on real life all
Um,
always like
Based on his feeling and his think of the society.
yeah.
So there is a saying like by reading historical facts and studying scientific things, you know the word. But by reading literature, you know about how the word once feel.
Yes.
So by historical fact, you know like what happened in the past. But then by literature, you learn how people feel in the past.
Yes.
Like by the character representing something, you might now know how in the past people feel about something, about idea. Yeah, and then that's the reason why from literature we extract some sort of like feminism, romanticism, like all the movement that very universal to like people. Like in this part of the country, someone feel this, and in the other part, someone feel the same. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting. But then literature or like humanity or social sciences are considering like very easy task in terms of science learning. Like
Mm-hmm.
there are other people who study physics or history, and these things are more important than like social sciences.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I'm more like social sciences than sciences itself. Yeah. Okay. So that's it for
So
today. I will try to talk with you more about everything next Friday. Okay.
okay.
So see you on next Friday, and if you do have time, try to write one paragraph of solution in history, how to make history more attractive. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So that's it for today, and thank you for for your time. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Enjoy the rest of the day. Bye.
Yeah. You too. Goodbye. See you then.
Bye.